This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stock Box interview.
Joining us today is Nick Tulloch, the CEO of Voyager Life, following an operations update from the company last week. Thank you very much for joining us today. Nick, how are you doing?
A pleasure, Mark. I'm very well, and I hope you are as well.
Yes, very good. Thank you, Nick. Of course, we spoke for the first time back in August. So, in the height of the summer and the lull in the markets there where you introduced the company. You're a manufacturer of CBD products. You have two products of your own name, Voyager, and of course Ascend. But the bigger part of the business was this sort of white label where you actually manufacture for big brands. And a big thing I picked up from the operational update, and also from what you said last time we spoke, which was during Q3, you wanted to have manufacturing contracts agreed, and then likely development is rapid, assuming that these are signed. And I think you have indeed done this, haven't you? You're actually manufacturing for one of the biggest UK's known CBD brands. We can't name them, but give us what you can.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Mark. We said earlier on in the year that we felt we were getting to the stage now where we were graduating from small and medium-sized contracts into contracts of substantial size. And we quantified that by saying that we felt these contracts across their life could equal last year's turnover, and last year's turnover was just short of £300,000. And you're right, we have started manufacturing for a very, very well-known CBD company in the UK. This is a company that sells through a number of, again, extremely well-known high street retailers. And for people who follow the CBD market, it'll be a brand that they'd be very familiar with. We started manufacturing for them a few months back. We are already on to order number 3. So they have reordered one of the first products we made for them, and they've now added on an additional product. That's the third order. So we're very pleased with how that's going. There's a good relationship between us and the company concerned, and it's beginning to look like a long life contract as we originally envisaged it to be.
So this is with one of the biggest CBD brands in the UK, and of course, as you say, you can't name them, but I do wonder why they are using you to manufacture. If they're pretty big, are they not already established with the manufacturing processes?
I think the interesting about CBD companies, and this probably mirrors itself across most consumer product businesses, a lot of the brands don't do their own manufacturing. The brands specialize on their brand, their marketing, their appearance, what the product range is all about. And then they outsource the manufacturing to who they hope will be a specialist. And you can see that would be the same, certainly in the cosmetics industry, but across drinks and foods.
Mm-hmm.
This is not at all unusual. I would say the majority of CBD businesses in the UK and also elsewhere do outsource all or part of their manufacturing. We've always taken the view that we'll specialize in topical products, so skincare products. That's largely because we think we can make more of a difference there. The topical product tends to be a little bit more bespoke. It's perhaps more personal than some of the ingestible products. And so where we're winning and where we're developing our name is in that topical, in that skincare environment. And this is a brand of what we're talking about. This is a brand that has a range of products. They absolutely do ingestible products. They're manufactured by a third party. But it's the topical side that we're helping them with, and continuing to work with them. And that will be true of other big contracts that we're looking to deliver as well.
And is that your sort of USP then? Is it with the manufacturing of the topical products there? I just wonder what perhaps key factors were involved in their decision to use Voyager Life as their manufacturing partner.
Well, it's been quite a long process. We first met them in, I'm trying to remember now, probably the winter of 2022. And we first probably got talking seriously with them in the winter of 2023. And then it was around about a 6-month process to make sure they were happy with us. They came up to visit us. We talked through the range. We sent numerous samples backwards and forwards to make sure they were happy with the quality of the product, and also the packaging and the jars and the entire delivery process. And I'd expect nothing less. I wouldn't expect any big brand, or indeed any brand, to pick an outsourced manufacturer unless they're very confident that manufacturer would do the exact job that they'd be looking for them to do in terms of the quality of the product. So it's not unusual, and it certainly doesn't dishearten me that it's a longer process than I would necessarily want it to be, perhaps.
Okay. I guess you mean 2021 and the winter of 2022 rather than 22 winter 23.
I do. It was the winter of 21 to 22 is when we first met them, and then 22 through to 23 is when we started talking seriously.
Okay. And you've also actually got your stocking as well, aren't you? You've announced that you're going to be stocking with one of the UK's best-known retailers for your own products.
We are, and again, so I don't want to sound overly mysterious, but it's probably inappropriate for us to name the retailer until we're actually on the shelf. But this is a contract that has been signed. We are in their supplier list. We're in their process in terms of how to deliver to their warehouse and what pallet size they want and how many products go in a box. So we're very confident it's happening, and it should happen in the very near term. This is a business that actually we also met earlier this year. So again, the winter of 22 to 23. It likewise, it's been a fairly lengthy process to assure them of our quality controls and our product range and also our delivery capability. I mean, retail is built around logistics, and for a retailer knowing that their suppliers can deliver the right quantity at the right time, and sometimes these slots are incredibly short. That's almost just as important as pricing and packaging. So we've been through the process with them. We know we're in their system, and we know an order is coming. And as soon as we're on the shelf, either virtually or physically, we'll be able to let everyone know who it is. But it's a name that everyone in the UK will be very familiar with. It's a very substantial retailer with many hundred stores. So it's something that will stand out very quickly.
Okay, excellent. Well, one retailer that you have mentioned is Debenhams. This is for purely an online offering, isn't it?
Yes, Debenhams well, I suppose as everyone knows, have moved on from the days of department stores, and they now exist solely online, where they have a fairly substantial marketplace. And we've agreed with them actually the last few weeks that our range is going to go onto that marketplace. This is a smaller contract than the other two we've just spoken about, but nevertheless, it's a name that, again, everyone watching this will be very familiar with. I mean, I'm sure we've all been into a Debenhams store at some point. So it's further validation for us. The fact that these big names and these well-known brands are saying actually Voyager is a business that we want to associate with, we want to stock, we trust that they can do what we expect them to do for our customers. That itself is quite a powerful statement of confidence in what we're doing.
Excellent. And finally, just on the other names and the companies that you're working with, Jollyes, that I believe is a pet store, chain of pet stores. I know that's a big part of what you do, and a lot of people like the products for their pets, don't they?
Yes, really, right since Voyager began, so 3 years ago, we developed a pet range alongside our human range. The pet range is also called Voyager. It's in grey packaging, whereas the human range is in green packaging, all made in the same location here where I'm sitting. One difference is that pet products are hemp seed oil based and not CBD based. And this is because in the UK, to sell a pet product over the counter, you can't contain CBD. You need a prescription for CBD. So our products are designed that they can sit on the shelf, in Jollyes, for example, be picked up by someone and put in their basket. Jollyes is well, if you're a pet lover, you may well have been into the store. It has about 90 stores in the UK. The style is very much sort of large out-of-town retail. So Pets at Home would be a very sort of similar style store. I mean, Jollyes is a slightly smaller business in terms of number of stores, but the unit size is probably not dissimilar. They placed an order with us back in May. We delivered that first order in June. They reordered in July, and we're expecting a third reorder in the very near term. And you'll be able to find us both online in Jollyes and also in store. 4 of our pet products are there. So we have so far delivered over 6,000 units to Jollyes since that contract began a few months back.
So generally quite a good sort of quarterly update, would you say, Nick? And also I believe you're in new premises, which is again something that was mentioned the last time we spoke. You were moving site, looking to upgrade your manufacturing site for not very much, less than 100,000, I think.
Yeah, well, actually, even less than that. We're based in Perth, in Scotland. We moved about 3 miles across the city a few weeks back. So I'm in the new premises just now. in some ways not dissimilar to where we were before. We're all under one roof, so the office, the warehousing, and the laboratory and the manufacturing is all in the same place. I would say it's a better facility. In terms of square footage, it's not dissimilar, but there is more space here for manufacturing, which is really where we think the future of the business is. It's also a better shaped building. The previous building looked great from the outside. It had some beautiful arch windows and some curved walls. Difficult to make full use of the square footage. I would say this building is probably less impressive from the outside, but much more impressive from the inside. It's a much more functional building.
Okay.
We also bus onto a warehousing facility as well, so we're able to take modular warehousing as we expand the business, both for ourselves and also for customer products. So overall, a stressful move, they always are, but we're very pleased to be in.
Good stuff. You mentioned there that the manufacturing is going to be the focus. And again, something I picked up from the operations update was that this division is actually seeing an increase in inquiries for the topical products. So you're getting a lot of people coming to you.
Well, we are. I mean, we've always generated a steady stream of inquiries. There was an intervention into the CBD market, or in fact, two interventions in the CBD market during October. One from the FSA, who reduced their recommended daily intake of CBD for adults, and the second from the British government. The FSA, on the face of it, that looked like a negative announcement in that it was reducing CBD intake, but it only applied to ingestible products. And what we've found since that announcement went out, it's about 3 weeks now, we've had an increase in inquiries for topical products, which are not regulated under the same regime. So, I mean, it's way too early to draw conclusions. But my suspicion, I suppose, is that people are saying, well, actually, ingestible products are quite challenging. Let's move towards topical products. Who specialises in that? Well, Voyager, one of the companies that do that. The second intervention, that was the British government that appears to be relaxing or prepared to relax the THC content in CBD products. However much you refine CBD, there will always be some impurity in the CBD isolate, and that will contain THC. For us, it's quite important. If the British government relaxes the THC content, it probably addresses one of the biggest challenges that many of us face in the industry, which is import and export. And as soon as you take a product across a border, it gets inspected, not for CBD content, it gets inspected for THC content. So we're moving to a regime where there's going to be a little bit more flexibility there. It's good news for us, it's good news for our customers as well.
Okay, great. And just thinking then, of course, on the money side, the revenue side there, I noticed that you say revenue is expected to be over £165,000. So what is this for? Is this for the quarter, for the year? What are we talking?
That's for the half year. So we're a March year end. So we will put out our interim results for the 6-month period to the 30th of September, hopefully in the coming weeks. And what we expect that to show is that revenue for that period is 165,000, or maybe a touch more. So it's up on the corresponding period. Probably worth saying that a lot of the contracts that we discussed in the first part of this conversation won't feature in that number. They would come through in half two. So there's hopefully a little bit more to come as we go through the year.
Okay, but that 165, that's across the business, so that's both manufacturing plus the direct sales.
It is. It's Voyager as a whole. So our retail operations through to our wholesale operations.
Okay, and then on the margin side of it, 43% margin. This would be from your own products, will it? That's the margin you're making from.
That's the blended gross margin across the business.
Okay.
And the business has a number of different revenue streams. We sell online, we sell through stores, we sell through other people's stores, and we manufacture. At the full year to March, we had a gross margin of 44%. We're at 43% at the moment. I don't think there's a whole lot of analysis you can do to interpret that missing percentage point. I think sort of that's going to be a fairly consistent margin for us on the current blend of the business at the moment. But overall, I say we're very pleased. We've had some good customer wins. We're getting good inquiries, and the second half of the year, it looks like it's very capable of doing a bit more than where we are at the moment.
Okay, well, that's very good. Of course, I recall from last time you say you have over 100 formulations there of products that you can in fact produce. Forward-looking statements, forecasts, it's always a bit of a tricky question to answer, but can you tell us what you would like to see? Of course, you say the numbers are going to be a lot better going forward as some of those manufacturing numbers start moving in to and the new contracts there you've got move into the numbers there. Can you give an inkling of what would be good for you, what you'd like to see, what would be in your mind a success?
Well, I think the medium-term target is to get to a position where we're no longer consuming our cash, but actually turn that around and actually start generating cash.
Sure.
In order to do that, we need to get revenue into 7 figures across the year. Now, again, at first glance, that looks like quite a stretch from where we are now. But based on the size of the contracts that we outlined again at the start of this call and some of the bigger retailers we're dealing with, it's entirely possible that in the not too distant future, if those contracts come through and so things change, people say things, they decide not to order to the extent you think they're going to order. So things can change. But based on the conversations we've got, we think we have, well, excuse another metaphor, enough plates spinning to get to that position in the sort of medium term, let's say. I think it's also important just to bear in mind we have a very blended business. We're also selling online, we're selling to our own stores, as well as the wholesale and manufacturing side. So we're never going to be entirely dependent on one contract. This is not a business where this contract doesn't come through, if that retailer doesn't order, we all sort of fall flat on our face. It's not the case at all. We do have those multiple revenue streams, which makes us a little bit different to others. But what we are saying is we think that the future growth of the business is going to be in the manufacturing wholesale side.
Right, so that's where the focus will be, is the manufacturing and the wholesale side. And you say you've got enough plates spinning there and wanting to get into 7 figures. Are you ready to deliver that then? If these elements that you've got do indeed come through, are you able to deliver on them?
Yeah, we absolutely are. And that's part of the reason for moving office. It's a better facility with a better ability to scale up. One other avenue, which we might have touched on previously, is more automation. Sure. Where what we're looking to do is to increase the volume of products we're manufacturing. So bigger contract sizes and more contracts. The more automation we can put into the manufacturing side, the better. One of the advantages we have been up in Scotland is we work with an organisation called Scottish Enterprise, which is a government-funded organisation. They provide grant funding for businesses like us. And what they've confirmed is that if we were to buy capital equipment, so think labelling machines, think filling machines, the type of things you might see on TV for a cosmetic manufacturer. If we were to buy certain equipment along those lines, they would provide a grant for 50% of the cost. So we buy it up front, and then they would rebate 50% back. So we do get some support as we look to expand that business.
Okay.
That business.
Well, thank you very much for that update, Nick Tulloch, the CEO of Voyager Life. I look forward to seeing some of those names announced when you can of the retailers, but also, of course, the news on new manufacturing, the white label side, given that is your focus. But thank you very much for your time today.
Pleasure. Thank you, Mark.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stockboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.